What's the matter, buddy?
I'm depressed.
Depressed? Look how beautiful it is out.
But we're stuck in here. Inside. Indoors with the darkness.
I know it'll cheer you up.
No, nothing can cheer me up.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep, I know.
What's that?
Episode. Let's do another episode.
An episode?
Yeah.
Like what? Inside or outside?
Definitely outside.
It's like 70 degrees outside.
Exactly.
Okay, let's do it.
Syncing the audio.
You have that on perpetually?
Yeah, oh yeah.
YouTube, right?
Yeah, typically. I connect it to a lot of devices.
Shit's gonna eat your brain, man.
Nice. It's physical. Injustice isn't shared.
Sam Harris, that's your book, buddy. If you listen to our pod, you better listen to our podcast. So control!
Yeah, control is a tricky thing.
Control is a tricky thing. That's
When you
subtitle.
Yeah, when you think you have it, it's usually when you don't have it.
So you were talking, you brought up the point about E. A
Yeah,
shot of
E.
E.
Shot of emotion. Because we talk about how humans are addicted to their emotions.
Well, yeah, a lot of people I don't think understand how so many of our habits are related to, especially addictions, are related to control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we live in a society that's constantly stripping us of control.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the human mind just really wants to find ways to get control because that's it. Control, having things that you know and being able to receive satisfaction, that feeling of comfort, these are all forms of control. And that's why we actually form these habits. Like, you know, anytime you're addicted to a substance, that's like the ultimate form of control. You have no control over your life. You know, you might be unable to, say, find companionship with a lover, find satisfaction in your work, or control your career. Being able to control
meaning
these
in life.
Exactly. Being able to control things like substances, you know, where you can control that satisfaction, you know, because you get satisfaction when you receive that high.
Yeah, and then we miss the natural aspect of it. The natural aspect of the things, the healthy chemicals in our brain that actually stave off depression.
Yeah.
You know, gives you energy.
Yeah.
Gives you focus.
Sure.
So you can actually start to find meaning. But if you're kind of running for your life mode,
Right.
and you have developed those bad habits and you're running for your life, you're not really going to find any balance. You're certainly not going to find anything like you're supposed to do, like your life purpose or your meaning in something.
Well, and you're not going
meaningless.
to really find control either.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not a conscious thing either. It's not like you're, you know, when people are addicted to a substance or addicted to some sort of behavior, it's not a conscious choice, right? You're driven to it by these sort of unconscious urges to sort of recapture that feeling, that subconscious drive to get control in your life. It's like eating, overeating, addiction to like sex or porn. You know, I mean, think of like a guy that's just driven to look on Tinder nonstop, right? You're constantly checking out these chicks, you know, swiping left or right in its own way. That's a form of addiction. It could easily be a form of addiction, not necessarily has to be, but often it is. And so when you do that, you're getting that satisfaction of constantly swiping left and right, seeing if this, you know, some girl's gonna respond to you, and every time she does, you get this high, and then you think about, oh, I could be doing this with this girl, and the excitement or that with this girl.
I like to say that I think the majority of people are what I like to call functioning addicts.
Oh, okay.
Highly functioning addicts.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I say that the addictions only play out at certain periods, you know, during the day.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're probably not aware of them, but we're able to have some relationships
I was waving
where,
to someone. Yeah.
were able to hold a job.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's what I call like a highly functioned person who's addicted.
Sure.
And to those things, whether it's emotions or eating or shopping or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also we're being raised by people that have the same functioning.
Oh yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of stigma that gets associated with people that have outwardly or known addiction issues. There's sort of this notion that like, oh, these people they're not strong enough, they're not capable enough, they failed, because they haven't been able to control themselves. But if you think about the amount of addictions that are out there, addictions go way beyond the obvious stuff. How many people do you know that are addicted to shopping? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like shopping, being addicted to shopping is a huge issue. And it's not just because, you may spend your money or this or that. It's because of that sort of cover-up feeling that you get from that addictive nature by just going out, buying something and receiving this sort of high every time you make a purchase.
Yeah,
what is that really covering up?
Yeah, have you ever purchased something, you want it really bad, and then you get it, and then you don't use it, or you don't watch it, or you don't listen to it. Oh yeah. And it sits there, and you get bent out of shape when it's not there on time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then when you finally get it,
yeah.
you kind of forget about it. It's like a kid. It's like a kid who gets all kinds of presents and then is just waiting for the next one.
Right.
Waiting for that next high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's funny to... this guy's... He's waving me through. I'm getting the wave through. He's got 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, he's a beautiful boy. He's a beautiful boy.
I know. Too bad we can't take Chewy on these rides.
I know. My poor dog. He would be barking. He'd be going nuts left and right. He'd be adding to the commentary.
Yeah.
Part of the
he would be right there.
Right there.
Maybe we could put a picture right there.
There you go.
So you're talking about shopping?
Yeah. Well,
as an example.
Yeah. The thing is there are so many things that we get addicted to because of our feeling of insufficient satisfaction, and there is just some substances, some addictions are far worse than others. Drugs tend to have a physical side effect in regards to their addiction. Some drugs can be good. Some, even some drugs that are considered taboo can have some positive elements to them, some positive attributes to, taking them and using them in a recreational form.
Yeah, especially when compared to a lot of more toxic things that are out there. That are actually legal.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
You take
look at the opioid epidemic.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's for how many years have people been judging, heroin addicts or crack addicts?
Yeah.
But I just the number.
It's the stigma with heroin or crack.
It's 40 million people are taking psychotics.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, what do you call it? Not psychotics. What do you call it? Psychiatric.
Yeah.
Psychiatric. Call it psychotic medicine.
Psychotropic.
Psychotropic.
I think
we'll figure that. We'll put that right there. 40 million people are taking this shit in the United States alone.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's
a huge industry.
That's crazy. Why do 40 million people need that? That's nuts.
It's control. It's a quick fix.
It is a quick fix. Exactly.
Quick fix.
Exactly.
Instead of living a more healthy life.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally, emotionally.
Well, you mean instead of dealing with a particular issue?
Yeah.
And this
seems like to be a quicker option.
Right. This isn't even to blame people that are doing that because it's just as easy for them to get on it.
We're not blaming anyone.
But the truth is,
we've both been there. Not necessarily opioids or anything like that. But
well, I was gonna say, well, you and I both.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, like when we go to the DVD store, sometimes I go, I'm like, man, I don't have this movie in my collection. Yeah. Why the hell do I don't need that? I don't need everything on 4K. Some things you do need on 4K.
You do. Makes a difference.
Some things you need on 4K.
Audio,
Well, color.
picture quality.
I have an OLED television, David. Well, that's a nice house.
What's OLED?
Organic light emitting diode. It's all built into the panels because of how TVs.
This is for you nerds out there.
it's how they make
Richer
the TV.
blacks is how
No, it really is.
I've heard it many times from this guy.
It's not just
Richer-
richer black; it's
I know.
perfect blacks. Because what they do, they take they shut the light off.
They remove the grain.
Because you remember, I had that one TV. The one TV I had, it was an LCD,
Yeah.
and I would always get this clouding issue. So they had like all of this.
Yep.
It looked like a nebula when I was watching like an extra nebula in Star Wars or some. I don't want extra nebulas in my space battles. God damn it! So I went out and I bought an OLED because what they do is they shut the light off. And it's pure black, and it's just the most amazing. Once you taste black, you never go back. So that's what it's.
Put commercial for OLED right here.
But it was OLED TVs.
So
LG better sponsor. What do you say?
when you realize in your life that you don't actually have control over things or most things in your life, I mean, in your life, then what's the path to having more control? Do we let go of everything, essentially? Or do we try... Well, when I say let go of everything is we let go of our stigmas, we let go of any grievances we have with other people in our lives, we let go of this idea of being, like, say, perfect or having a great job or having the perfect... Do we let go of all that? How do we find balance, some sort of balance with those ideas, but also so those ideas don't control our lives?
Well, it's not about letting go. It's about letting go of the attachment, I suppose. So it is about letting go, but it's not about letting go of your drive to, improve the circumstances of your life. There's nothing wrong with chasing after $1 million as long as you understand what that chase is, as long as that chase doesn't enslave you. Yeah. If that chase enslaves you, you're going to get that $1 million and you're going to be just as depressed, if not more so, because of the massive amount of letdown that you get. Once you attain the goal, and that goes for anything. I know people that have, they've had goals about, I don't like the way my body looks right now. Let me go out and change this, and this. You may feel satisfaction for a week or so, but that is not. There's a deeper seated issue that's involved in that whole thing. Yeah. That really creates the not even the unhappiness, but the dissatisfaction that's attributed with yourself at that time. And solving the issue is not going out and altering your body so that you can suddenly feel complete.
Yeah, I could speak from my own personal experience, having gone through different dieting fads and trying to look a certain way, because looking a certain way will get me more women, and also I'll find happiness that way. But it didn't happen at all like that. In fact, at least for me personally, it made me a little bit more susceptible to people's comments. Like one, for instance, somebody told me when they saw me, because at some point I was working out really hard. I started to see some abdominal muscles. Yeah. So I was, whoa, that's just insane for me, because I never saw that in my whole life. And somebody went up to me and said, "Oh, keep it up. Keep up the good work." And you know how I took that?
How?
As like I wasn't good enough. I had to keep losing weight. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that I took that negatively.
Yeah.
Even though I know, now, of course, or even back then, I knew at some point it wasn't.
That's interesting.
It wasn't supposed to be negative.
It's like the ultimate dream that you had. Not the ultimate dream, but it was a huge, huge dream and something you always wanted to achieve. Yeah. But then you get so insecure about your position because it's not even about the goal. It's about the identity. So if you hear something, your brain is insecure, about its identity to begin with. It doesn't really matter where you are, because the slightest thing that sort of makes your identity feel like it's under threat will make you defensive, will make you feel uncomfortable, will make you again feel like you're not good enough. And this is why I think a lot of women sort of encounter this same thing.
Yeah, body image.
Yeah, body image,
big time.
bulimia.
Mhm.
When they feel like they're just not thin enough, and they could be bone thin, but they feel like they're not thin enough. It clearly has nothing to do with how fat they are. Someone with 0% body fat or close to it, you can't get any skinnier than that. But when someone feels insecure, it's not about really achieving the goal anymore. It's about propping up that feeling of that identity of being this or that. And to be honest with you, you're probably addicted at that point to the feeling of the drama. This is something that you're good. I'm letting a nice couple walk by with their little baby
On this nice day.
on this beautiful day.
The greens are even greener today.
It is.
You notice that?
You're right about that, actually.
Yeah.
Is it the sunshine? Is it the water that we have? Probably the water.
I think it's also the canvas we've been looking at all this time.
Oh, you mean that drab gray sky?
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing to contrast it. It was like all monotone for a while.
I love Michigan, man, but damn, it was getting depressing out here.
I love when it rains too, actually. I'm
Yeah.
one of those people. I love the sound of rain. I love the smell of rain.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. But I was really craving sun for sure.
Oh, I love, you know what
My
I love
body
is,
was craving the sun.
I love warm rain.
Yeah?
Warm rain's a lot of fun. Cold rain can kiss my ass, man. I don't
That just sounded funny. I like warm rain.
I like warm rain. Because it feels good against the skin. Like, that's the kind of rain you can walk out.
Oh, yeah. I understand, yeah.
40-degree rain's like your balls are still shriveling out, man. I don't want to deal with that shit.
That's going to be a good song. I love the warm rain.
Good stuff. But what were we talking about, Dana?
Oh, we were talking about body image. But this is one of the things that's least really talked about as like complaining is a form of control.
It is.
I think most people will listen to that and say, What? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
How is complaining control? Because you look unbalanced when you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
So what do you mean by that? So explain that a little more for the lovely listeners.
Well, it's because it's not about that. It's about you naming something or labeling something.
Right.
So you feel like you have some sort of there's like a righteous thing that comes behind that. I'm right. Somebody cut me off. I yell at them. I call them a name. And that gives me some sort of relief.
Yeah.
We're getting really, and psychologists say this too, is we're getting some sort of payoff for it.
Yeah.
And it really comes back to that addiction.
Right. I was driving slow. 'Cause, don't you hate that? Like you're driving. This guy, you're driving because you're trying to get over, or you're driving slow because you're trying to let someone pass you by.
Yeah, there's like a car language that has not fully been developed yet.
It's herd mentality, man.
Yeah.
It's like a pack of buffalo or
It's
something.
Like 2 beeps for this, 2 beeps for letting them go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you get the wave, and I get set off. People don't wave when I let them by. Does that ever piss you off?
Do I not feel good when someone doesn't?
Yeah.
So sometimes,
Yeah.
that's true. Sometimes you're
I'll do my Larry David. You give it up. You give it up.
You give the one way. Or the horn honk that was the one long honk is more aggressive than the double tap.
Yeah.
The doop doop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the dog's bark.
The dog barks.
How it like how you say that they have different meaning.
Oh
from a dog whisper.
Oh yeah.
That's our horn is our bark.
The horn is the bark of the car.
Yeah.
That's true. Because when we're in the car, we're horny. So.
Oh, good Lord.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
See why we're friends, guys. We're friends.
What were we talking about?
I love you. You love me. I see green and many trees.
Hey, you want to go here?
Oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, there's a little sunshine out here.
Yeah.
Not as many kids playing. Damn kids swinging on the trees. Too many kids in the park. I can't take it. All right, guys, we're parking.
Editing.
Parking.
Yeah, we're finding a path.
Parking and barking. I don't see any dogs out here.
No,
Take my dog out here. Pissing on every tree fed. All right.
that's a form of control.
Yeah, it is actually. You know why?
Yeah.
So because Chewy's got his cojones, his balls. It's dogs. You can always tell when they raise their legs a little higher to pee on trees, but they're more likely to go and mark more of their territory because they want to be more dominant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Control people. It's a circle.
Controlling.
Can you get this?
It's controlling.
Oh, it's not too wet out here.
No.
It's not too bad. Man, I gotta show you guys this image. Look at this. Look at this day. Holy cow. It is so nice out right now.
It smells awesome too out here.
I know, the trees. My nose is broken. I have a deviated septum, people.
Yeah, it comes with it, right?
Yeah, you can't smell anything. Plus, when the allergies hit, it just clogs up my nostrils so bad. There's nothing but mucus and grossness coming out of this beak. Oh, but anyways, so I guess you had asked the question earlier. So how do you
get some sort of control?
How do you
feel
get
like
control?
you're out of balance?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get to a point
Right.
where they don't know what to do. Like things are so out of whack
Yeah.
that the feeling of desperation comes out.
Right. I think the first step is understanding. You have to understand yourself. You have to understand. Yeah, this is a weird. Some douchebag drove on this path and carved their wheels into the walk section. Walk section. A walking section. Oh yeah, but she stopped. She's looking at the young boys at the skate park. I don't blame her. You do your thing, lady. All right. But the first thing you got to do, you got to quit like fighting yourself on everything. That's a thing that tends to happen with people that are seeking to make changes in their lives. There's a tendency to turn ourselves into our own enemy, and what it is, it's like we turn our egos into our enemy. Yeah. We make the ego into this. It's a goal we want to overcome. We talked about this in the ego and me. You can't get rid of the ego. The ego is something it's a part of you. It's a function of the brain. But
it's kind of like a perpetual voice.
Yeah.
That is constantly sort of summing up everything around us.
Right. Exactly.
Inside us, around us.
Yeah. But so I think the first step is it's understanding. Understand how you operate. Understand, like the functions of what you do. I mean, for one, you got to understand most of what you encounter or most of what you do. She said exactly what I was talking about.
Oh, technology.
Yeah,
it's good. It's enjoyed by people of all ages.
You're walking by. The first thing you want to do.
So, getting back to finding ourselves.
But you have to understand. So many of our problems they're nature based. These are processes that have been inside of us for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, and they don't just go away. Upon thousands, many a thousand. But they don't just fade away because we want them to. There's no intention that's gonna fade it away. It's like the muscle. You can't just want your muscles to grow big. You have to exercise the muscle, and just as much you have to train your brain. And more than that, you have to increase your awareness. I would say that's probably the biggest step, is increasing your awareness. Then you can hold the understanding. And,
Is that a good time?
And my asthma's kicking in.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I think just the pollen's getting a little lower, but oh man, salbuterol, guys, it works wonders.
Yeah, I'm coughing.
I know. But yeah, so understanding, awareness, and awareness is more than just awareness of yourself and of your problems. It's awareness of, it's clearing your mind, getting into a meditative state to slow down all of those like rampant thoughts. That's what allows you to sort of get wrapped up with those emotions, is when you're not clear.
Yeah.
The background processes sort of take over.
And they're going and going, and then you believe them.
Exactly.
Every little label of things, because you get a lot of times you get the automatic thing like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You never amount to anything.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you believe that.
Yep.
So those are things that keep you from making long-lasting changes.
Yeah. I guess that was a sort of question I was going to ask you is, why do you think it's so hard to make the long-lasting changes?
Yeah, I mean, man, that's a question for the ages for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't happen until like something catastrophic happened.
Okay.
It kind of like woke me up, I guess.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like loss of somebody in my life.
You want to sit?
Sure.
Yeah. Face the camera. Okay, so I guess that makes some sense in that regard. So it's
I mean, I'm not saying like it's always necessary.
Yeah.
But it seems to kind of be the way of the humans.
Yeah.
Like we don't go to the doctor until something's really bad.
Right. Okay.
We don't take care of things about ourselves until something is really threatening our way of life.
So you're saying like a big change will sort of create this imprint in your brain, in your mind, that then it turns sort of the desire into reality, so that your brain instantly knows, like it's instantly learned that habit of being able to point out when the unconscious addiction. Poor squirrel almost got ran away.
I never understand why they'll like run across the street and they stop in the middle of the street.
Because it takes that big event for them to get run over before they learn, and that's what the problem. They don't learn.
There are no
after
squirrel hospitals.
There are no squirrel hospitals, so they have no idea. The squirrel nurses have nothing to do. You're right about that.
But I mean, it was. It was on top pile of other things, of course.
Not the squirrels. What are you talking about? I wasn't even looking. I was looking over there.
I know.
What did you just do?
That was perfect.
So I'm checking out. Someone built. They built what do you call like those hanging hammocks? What do you call those things?
Oh yeah,
like a hanging tree. They built one for a pixie on the electrical line. I'm like, what the hell is that thing? No one can sit on that. That's silly.
That fascinates me though. That's folk art.
That is cool. No,
they do. They
awesome.
call that folk art.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
And you can buy that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool when people express themselves.
Oh yeah.
But not necessarily in an artistic way, or what's considered to be mostly, like commonly artistic.
Sure.
Painting or
sculpting.
sculpting.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are very judgmental about your backyard. Like, why has he got a fairy in his yard? That's not good.
Why did he cut his grass?
He painted his house purple.
Going for the wild look.
That purple hat is taking down our property value. Man, I'm gonna paint my house purple. Just because you naysayers out there. Just because you picky SOBs. Son of a bitch.
But what I was saying, it was a combination of things, but it's like that old saying, like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, no, that's true. So what else? I mean, let's say, I guess the question is, like, how do you do it when, to avoid having to get to that sort of, that break point with that dude. all dogs are eating grass right now. It's great. But yeah, I mean, without having to get to a point of, that extreme situation where, the shit hits the fan. How do you make what you learn? Like, let's say you went to a Tony Robbins expo or an Eckhart Tolle, seminar, and you were super motivated. You just read the newest book by Wayne Dyer, or his latest book by Wayne Dyer, and and it just inspired the hell out of you, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna make these changes, but then all of a sudden your habits start to creep back in. How do you put this into practice enough where it sticks, where it becomes just becomes the way that you live, and so it's not about reverting back to the habits that brought you into hell?
Well, I want to say, like, first of all, it's not the change itself that is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. It's really how you look at life. That's the most important thing. So, but that could be a change, of course. Okay. All right. But I'm saying, when I was giving that little, the small print sort of thing, I was saying that material change is not really that usually is going to do it for you. It helps for sure. Okay. When I say like form-based, something that's tangible. So, right? I mean,
what do you mean by material?
Oh, like changing how you look,
Oh, well,
getting this job or whatever. So anyways, I'll go back.
Oh, okay.
So, for me, I think it's just making little changes and apply them, to your life. Okay. Taking into account what you heard. I mean, if you went to one of those things anyways, I think you're halfway there.
Okay, all right.
If you're there, if you're going to see one of them, or just watching this video.
But how do you make it stick? I think the reason why I press that issue is because I think that's and I have my ideas about it, but I want to hear, like, what do you think, because we've all been there. We've all been in that place where you've experienced the super uplifting, the super inspiring and motivating sort of speech and the new form of opinion or thought.
Well, I was thinking about it today. I really believe it's small changes. And implementing them in some way, and just getting a lot of practice. Doing those things. So, like, for instance, for me to build awareness, I would say to myself, well, I'm going to get in my car and I'm not going to turn any music around. I'm not going to let other things sort of distract me. I'm going to just focus on my driving and not try to multitask while I'm driving. That for me made a difference. Because I didn't count on the music, so if I felt like any sort of irritation, I didn't reach for the music to help me with that, or be a little distraction if I got bored. Or
so what if let's say someone beyond that kind of a thing. So like that's good. That's good advice. I think that so what that does is that helps you get into a place where your brain isn't constantly tied up with entertainments. Like I find for myself, I have to remind myself very consciously, don't pick up the television, don't watch a movie, don't play a game. Let your brain relax itself, calm itself down from that addiction to entertainment. Especially once it's at that addiction point, when you're just feeding the need, you're not even enjoying what you're doing, you're just satisfying something at that point. As I'm putting my hand in front of your face, but
it's a pleasant hand.
But yeah, no. So when I take a break from those things, I become way more productive. Mm-hmm. And then you sort of you become enthralled. You sort of it's easier to get into the zone of creation mode and sort of accomplishing what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so that's a really good thing. So that's good advice there. So, but what about, let's say, okay.
Well, I thought a good piece of advice was, just go and do that thing, and you'll be surprised that you could summon the energy to do it. Okay. Whatever that activity is.
Well, I mean, in terms of, one of the people's big, and
tilty.
Yeah, I know we're on a serious thing. Let's try to compensate for that. One of people's biggest goals is to have that sort of everlasting feeling of peace inside of themselves. Mm-hmm. Because if you can sustain that level of enlightenment, that's really what enlightenment is the ability to have control over yourself, to have control over your emotions, so that the emotions don't take control over you and you don't get captured inside of, you know, the flurry of emotion, the flurry of anger, sadness, whatever the case is, and to be able to meditate your way out of all of that, or meditate before it even gets to that. That's a state of enlightenment. People want to maintain that. People go to, you know, people spend $6,000 for some Tony Robbins seminar, which, I mean, hey, if you do it, you do it. That's good. I hope it helps you. But people spend this kind of money on things because they're driven to get that feeling. I mean, if you think about it, you can do a lot with that kind of money.
Yeah.
You know, but people are obviously, they're driven for that. And I think he's actually really good at delivering, not even delivering, but helping people open that door for themselves. But a big problem that I think people encounter is when they're outside of that. When they're outside of that,
when it's over.
Exactly. When it's over, they go home. They don't have the massive audience because that audience is super uplifting. You know, even when you're at a Tolly, you and I went to Tolly, was it 2001, 2002?
2003, actually.
2003?
The year that we met.
Yeah. So we went to an Eckhart Tolle seminar in Chicago at the O'Hare Airport, and it was awesome. It was a very calm crowd. It doesn't have to be the super excited Tony Robbins crowd.
Yeah, you pick your own crowd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is like that crowd was equally as uplifting, right? Like, it was very calming. It was, you know, in its own way different, but still, when you go home, when you leave that environment, you know, how do you change it? And that might be an answer for you, but I want to hear what you're gonna say. How do you maintain that sense of rich enlightenment when you're back in your home?
Practice. Just really comes down to practice.
Okay.
You know, finding things that mean the most to you and stand out the most. That's what you should be practicing the most.
Like what?
Because they have more of an impact on you. So,
well, I mean, in terms of like calm and getting that peace, getting that inner peace down.
Wait, say that again?
To sort of maintain that field of enlightenment throughout your day-to-day experience. How do you maintain that?
You maintain by practicing.
Okay, let's what? Let's hear an example.
Well, you know, I mean, we're big on awareness, so you practice awareness every day.
Okay, all right.
So that a lot of that means just going within.
Okay, all right.
Right.
So a question.
Judging your thoughts.
Yeah.
Or at least don't take them for reality.
Yeah.
And just be there, so when the thoughts come up, you don't necessarily have to be believing the thoughts all the time.
Okay, all right. Can you give an example?
Yeah. I mean, say that you're just sitting there, and then a thought comes up, and I'm going to pick a one that's going to probably jar you.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of it is just, it's based around not being good enough.
Yeah.
You know, everything that you have, you always have to kind of go above what you have already.
Right.
So that thought will come up, you know, you lazy SOB, you know, you're never going to get any better.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with that thought? So for me, I question that thought. You know, is that the reality of it? So at that point.
So you're saying question, is that the truth, what that thought is? That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can actually just start to take a personal inventory. Say, okay, this is what I did yesterday, or this is what I've done with my life so far. I've accomplished this, this, and this. Do I want to accomplish more? Yes, that's okay. But is what you've done so far, is that enough? Yeah. And what about if what you've done so far isn't enough? Is it really enough, not enough, let's say, to warrant belief in that thought?
Yeah. It's a good answer. That's what I was looking for.
Does it?
And to add on to that
he
too.
He pulls.
I pull it out.
I resist. I go and he pushes away.
Every time I think I'm out, he pulls me. I was gonna add to that.
Please do.
So, talking about environment, right? So, if you find that you're always that it's easier to get yourself into that sort of state when you're surrounded by, you know, these thousands of people, you know, or a big crowd, or a speaker that's, you know, sort of emanating this sort of vibe. and then you find that you have the problem when you go home of sustaining that feeling, that's probably an indicator that you should change your environment. Making physical changes to your environment can and will have a direct impact on the state of your mind and the ease of your ability to sort of get back into that enlightened state. And it's funny, there's a plane coming, so let's hold on a second. Small ones, binary. All right, but there's I think 70% of our emotional state is sort of determined by the environment that we're in, and it's largely because when you're in this environment, there's so many different factors that kick into your subconscious mind. You might be around something that reminds you of something, even if you don't consciously recognize that. Your brain is processing this and it's reflecting on it. It could be a particular situation that you're in, and so on and so forth. So the answer to this, or a huge fix to a lot of these problems, is changing your environment. And you can't always change everything, but think like your home. If anything, change the way your home is sort of set up. Change some of the things and some of the ways that you have your home sort of feng shuied into, right? Like, really. Yeah. And but don't follow someone's rule book about what this position means in accordance to the sun. Forget about that shit. No, I keep doing that. But no, find out what works for you. If you want to live out in the forest of the Amazon in your living room, you build that shit. You make that for yourself. Work with your wife if you're married, or your husband, or whatever the hell you want to do. But take some control at home, because these feelings of control, and like the home base, that is so important to have that feeling of control in your life.
It's your sanctuary. Yeah,
it's your sanctuary. It's where you go home to relax. It's where you go to meditate.
Yeah. You don't go home from stressful and go home to get stressed.
Well, a lot of people do, though.
They do,
and that's why this world is.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So you fix it so that when you're going home, you're kind of looking forward to.
Exactly. Make those little steps. Turn that place into your sanctuary. Do that with every place that you can. Take control over those little things. Don't take control over other people, but take control over the things that you have control over. And find out what that is. That's up to you to decide what that is and where that is. But I guarantee you, it's somewhere in your life.
Yeah, do it at your office.
Yeah. Hey, oh yeah. Dress your desk up the way that you want to.
Exactly. Yeah. Because what you look at, that's what you're going to put out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you're not looking at something that makes you feel balanced, or even gives you like a good emotion, then you're going to be putting out what most of the people are out there putting out, and that's just more stress on top of stress.
And for you 9-to-5ers, man, I mean, you really got to think about that. How much time are you zonking out and feeling like shit for in some office? Mm-hmm. You're trading how much of your life for that security.
Like Peter Gibbons, what did he say? He zones out or something?
I zone out for about 3 or 4 hours at the beginning of the day, and then I get up and get some coffee. I probably do about 30 minutes of actual.
Are some of you at an 8-hour job that you do in 3 hours or less?
And then what's weird is today it's like those hours are increasing. The 9-to-5 is sort of become the 9-to-7 or the 9-to-8 for a lot of folks.
Oh, for sure.
And that's just crazy.
That's 7-to-7.
That's like, if it's your personal business and you're growing it, that's one thing. You're developing that, and you're not working. You're developing. You're creating. But if you're going to some place and you're just putting an office hour time, I'm not advocating that you necessarily quit right now, but start looking. Start looking for something else in your life. Make a conscious choice about that. Take control under that circumstance. And the same goes in your relationships, guys. I'm sorry to say, if your love, it'll be sad if you leave her, but you either need to make conscious choices to make change, or you need to break up.
Yeah.
But
the longer you wait, the harder it is.
Yeah, we need to stop, run out of battery power. Yeah. So this has been a fun one.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Make sure to check us out on social media.
Yeah.
Just Easy Awakenings. That's
Easy,
all you have to search.
type in Easy Awakenings down on
Yep.
Google. You'll
Letter
find us
E,
all over
letter
the place.
Z,
Yeah. And go to our
Awakenings.
website too, www.easyawakenings.com. And Apple Podcast will come to you, baby. We're actually already
Anchor.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
we
on
just switched to
now.
Anchor, so we're going to be uploading these into audio form. If you're on audio, thanks for
Yeah,
listening.
and please consider donating.
Yeah, donate, guys.
It's important, so we could keep giving you this information.
Yeah. We actually are making a new documentary, and we are raising funds for this. So it is so important that we get donations for it because we want this to be the best possible. We want to make a documentary series. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace.